Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Hi, I'm Kim,
And I'm Torra.
and this is our podcast, Kicking It with Kimm and Torra. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Absolutely. Like always, we have three amazing topics, and we're going to just jump right into our first topic of the day.
which is cryptocurrency. You were telling me, Torra, that a lot of the globalist
Cool.
billionaires are
hmm
in cryptocurrency now.
Oh my God. Well, they already, like Elon and Warren Buffett and Jamie Dimon, they already had mad stocks, as we all know. That's where a lot of them made their fortune in, real estate. But they also, when the cryptocurrency market came along, they started getting more into it. So from what I'm hearing, they've been selling off a lot of stock, buying up on this cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Doge, Ethereum. They're buying up on all these and blockchains. They're investing in just about everything, and it's like, well, what's going on? Because we always know they dictate where the world goes. So what are they not like? We're finding out little bits and pieces of everything, but because I do own a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, and it is through the roof. Like it is top dollar right now. And I'm just saying to myself, imagine if our dollar is ready to crash, like the US dollar, because this is a global thing. Like the rest of the world is already on crypto. Like we're like probably one of the last people to really get into it because of the value of our dollar is depleting. But they're pulling their money out of everything. And we know what happened the last time that happened. There was a depression. It went right past recession and went straight to depression. So I'm assuming
About the
from what I'm
depression in the
hearing.
40s?
Hmm.
You're talking about the depression in the 40s?
Yeah.
A couple
When
things.
everyone.
I have heard that a lot of or a number of billionaires have been selling off their stock in their company.
Hmm.
The articles that I've seen have been talking about them pouring that money into their underground bunkers for whatever they think is coming. But I also am aware that there have been, I won't call them rumors, but claims
Hmm.
over more than a year or so that the
Hmm.
dollar is going to crash. They're pointing to BRICS, that
Hmm.
Brazil, Russia, India, China,
Yeah.
South
Yeah.
Africa currency that they have issued. They pointed to the fact that those uh, Arab countries no longer want to use the dollar as the
Hmm.
currency for buying
Hmm.
oil,
Right.
which would totally destabilize our dollar.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they've been calling for a crash for like really a couple years, saying that
Hmm.
we're going into a crash. I have purchased some Bitcoin in the past, but I am
Hmm.
not a huge investor. I am concerned with the
Me
ones that have
too.
gone under. Remember that young guy
Oh
said,
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's difficult to police and monitor, but we do have to do something because our economy is out of control and the global economy is changing. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I feel like if you are in the lower end of our economic system, and I don't want to say the word poor, but I have to so everyone knows what I'm talking about. If you are middle class, if you're considered poor in the United States, I feel like you're gonna tank. I
mm,
feel like they're not even educating them on what's about to happen, what's going on. I feel like they're like, look, we're gonna feed y'all, we're gonna give y'all some food,
some
but other than the dollar, you're not gonna know nothing
food.
about
They're going to give them some fake processed
it.
foods,
Yes.
GMO veggies and fruit
Yeah.
covered in A-pill, that
Yeah.
toxic crap that Bill Gates is producing that now is
Did you hear
apparently
about
going to
plastic in
be.
food? Like they're actually using plastic to make, like, come on. And you don't know what is what. They're talking about it looks real. The meat, it looks real. I mean, I just know that I've been sick lately. Not moving on, but like merging into our other topic, I have been just back to back to back sick. Back to back to back memory loss. I'm just tired all the time. Can't get the strength to just do what I want to do because it's so, I don't know. Once you get sick, it just piles on you. And I literally put it out there on social media. And now I'm hearing so many more people saying it can't just be me. It
So
can't.
what are they talking about? What kind I'm aware of what kind of sickness you have, which is COVID that has what
Mhm.
morphed into just many
Coughing all
coughing.
night, so you never get any sleep. Never. As soon as you lay down, the coughing is just unbelievable. You can take cough suppressants, you can take medication, you can take whatever you want. Nothing stops this dry hacking cough.
But I
And
remember your husband got sick around the time you did, so his just smoothed out and you're continuing,
no, no,
or
he
you
still
having.
is very lethargic. He's very tired all the time, and he definitely still has the hacking cough at night also.
And
Definitely.
remember, I had gotten sick back in December, and it just
Mhm.
transferred into a series of different things,
Yep.
excessive phlegm, whatever was.
Oh, the phlegm. Whoo, I said to him the other night, when does this stop? When does
Yeah,
the phlegm stop?
I don't know. Before we leave that other topic, though, I'm going to say this because I
Mhm,
got to throw out a couple controversial opinions, which I think I have many of them. I
mhm.
think that at some point the system is going to crash, and in my mind, it's not
Mhm.
the worst thing in the world. We're trapped
No.
in a system where we're just paying bills, we're paying for things we shouldn't be paying for. They're tampering with our food, our air, our water, our
Yep.
everything. So I think that if it crashes or when it crashes,
Mhm.
it will be difficult. We will be in chaos for a while, but as human beings, we will find our way. We will come out of it and find a way to establish something that is more homegrown, where we're growing food and bartering and
Mhm.
figuring things out. So I'm not hastening the crash. I'm not begging for it, but I'm not fearing it either. If it's coming, it's going to be what it's going to be, and we'll figure it out. But back to the sickness.
No, but I'm really glad you circled back to that because I feel the same way you feel. And I do feel 50-50 about it because I do feel like the lower portion of our class system will survive because we've already prepared ourselves pretty much to having nothing. So having nothing and then having nothing taken away from us, what is it going to leave us with? So I do
Nothing
feel
from
like
nothing,
upper middle class.
nothing leaves nothing. Remember
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing from nothing leaves
But you
absolutely
feel
nothing.
that upper middle class what?
I think they're going to survive the best. I really do. I
Okay.
think upper middle class has already known that, you're never going to get rid of your lawyers. You're never going to get rid of your doctors. You're never going to get rid of your scientists. You never, the people, the educational system. I feel like those are considered the upper middle class. The assistance to everything. I feel like is, people will suffer.
Well, we shall see. It'll be interesting, but I'm up for whatever. I mean, I figure we're
Mhm.
here at this time for a reason, so I'm up for doing whatever it is I need to do.
Oh yeah.
When
Oh
you
yeah.
put the call out on social media about these illnesses going around,
I
what
did.
kinds of things have people started saying?
A lot of people under my comments was like, I thought I was the only one. Have you had the fluttering of the heart and they can't breathe? Like all of a sudden you just like gasping for air. I'm like, oh my goodness. This is and nothing you read on any of the government sites is telling us. Like literally, I've been on there because they put a warning on my TikTok when I didn't even ask for it. I don't even know how that generated on there. But they put a link on there for you to get COVID Noble just because I mentioned COVID on my
They
TikTok.
do that. They do that on
Yep.
YouTube too. They will put some what they call real information to counteract whatever you're saying, which is just the
But
company.
I mean, it's just my experience. So I don't understand how they can come up with their own analogy of what I'm going through and what people who are saying they're going through the same thing. The constant headaches. Oh my gosh. The headaches are I finally told myself, Tori, you're gonna have to deal with these headaches because I was popping Advil like Tic Tacs.
Oh
Like
wow.
literally just trying to get rid of these headaches that come right after this last COVID experience. Now I've had COVID twice,
Okay.
three times. So this is my third bout.
This is
And
the
I've had all the shots and I've had all the booster shots. So
word. You put your video on TikTok?
I did.
I gotta
Yeah.
watch it. I haven't been on there that much, so I didn't realize it, but I watched.
Soon as I came home from Vegas, I was just like, this is unbelievable. Because I
I saw
thought,
that. I saw that where you put the
mhm,
COVID thing in the green screen
mhm.
background. So that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. I put both of the COVID tests like to show, like, look, not just one said But the second one also said, you have, and this COVID was so strong.
Mhm.
I literally only put one dot in there and it had already moved into COVID positive. That's why I was like, what is going
So
on?
anti all of that, claiming that when I initially got sick, I never even did any testing.
You didn't?
No, no, I'm not taking that. But I, took care of myself with natural
Mhm.
remedies, and I got fine. But then I started doing stuff too quickly, which bugs me because I should be able to go outside and walk up and down the hills or whatever without
Absolutely.
reactivating anything. But I will say that I see my daughter every day. She never got sick. So, I mean, she doesn't live right in my space.
Mhm.
We're not into any government routine. So we're
Okay.
not going to do like I'm
That's
not
to
going to
me.
take those tests. The only time I would take a test is if I'm traveling and there
Mhm.
are COVID restrictions and I want to get the heck up out of this country, then I'll
Mhm.
take a test. But other than that, we try to stay away from all of that. But everybody else with you got the boosters and everything too?
Everybody, but there's one of my friends who does not play that. She's never actually been vaccinated by anything. Her family was Muslim and they just didn't do it. They moved out of the country during
Her.
her, soon as she was born, they were like, just to make sure the government didn't try to, call CPS and say they were, not getting their kids back. So they lived in Europe for a long time. And then when they came back, pretty much everything was done. And she
Once you're
was
out of
telling me.
school, they can't really compel you to do that. So
Right. And that's how it was when I met her. She had already we were like, we met in the 6th grade and she hadn't been vaxxed. So usually by then you have all your shots. At least I know I had all mine by then. And she said that her mom had the one that scarred their arm. You remember that? You all used to see
I
the
had
older people.
I'm pretty sure I had that. Mhm.
Really? So that must have stopped like 2 years or a year before my sister was born because she doesn't have it, but my cousins that are 1 year older than my sister had it.
And they were giving us that crap in school. I mean, the things
That's
that
when.
they have been able to do to us
Mhm.
without us for decades, without us really understanding what was going on is just it's crazy. But we're waking up now. Don't try that mess now because we know better.
Yeah, oh yeah. So she said that her mother immediately started having all these health problems after she got vaccinated. So her mother said none of her kids were going to be on any type of vaccination. And she married a man who had never been because he's from a whole nother country where they don't
Want
vaccinate.
you to
So
put poison in your arm
right.
every few months when you're a child. Oh,
Right. Right. So she said that she's never been vaccinated and she didn't get COVID. She when the COVID first came out, she didn't get it, but she got it this time around. And she said it was felt like a cold. She said she tested positive because she went to the doctor because her throat was hurting, her head was hurting. Um she said it was blinding, like the headache she had was blinding behind her eyes. She got tested. They were like, well, you tested positive for COVID, and we need to when you come back, we need to vaccinate you because they wanted. She was because they don't vaccinate you while the COVID is live, but they tell you to come back. She knew she wasn't coming back. She said 3 days later she was fine.
did they? I've heard a couple people have had a one day. Just everybody's getting sick. One of my cousins had a one night or one day virus where they had to
Hmm.
use the bathroom excessively,
Yep. Yep.
lethargic, couldn't get
Yep.
out of bed. After a day, it was over. The people in his house, my younger cousin, some of her children, like toddlers, got
Hmm.
it too. After a day, they were fine. There appears to be a number of things going around right now where people are just getting sick.
And she's more like you. She does her herbs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She drinks her tea, she does her herbs, she does her juices. And so everything she took to cure herself was all natural. There was
Okay.
never any Mucinex, any NyQuil. She didn't take any over this. She didn't even take an aspirin, I don't think. She just, did her homeopathic stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we got to be careful because I mean, I'm not going to start staying in the house, but
mhm.
um,
No,
I
she definitely
am
not saying that.
I am more concerned because there was a person coughing behind my back before I got sick. I turned my back on them thinking that would be a protection, but it wasn't enough. In the future, you don't get to be coughing around me. I'm getting up.
Well, that's how we got sick. We were boarding a plane, and this man, Asian, clearly sneezed on Antoine, and I mean hot chewed, and he walked out of the line. we were in security and he said, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And he walked out of the line and I immediately thought SARS. I was like, oh God, I hope he didn't give us SARS. But he gave us COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, speaking of shutting things down, I guess they've shut down Miami to exclude the black folk from spring break.
They
Is it
sure did.
primarily black? It's primarily black people?
Oh, during spring break?
Am I-
Yes. And last year they did get out of hand. There was killings down there and not just one. So there was some, young people that lost their life from somebody who decided to bring a gun to the party and unalive young black men. And there were some attacks on some young black women, I heard. But they made a campaign, commercials, they're everywhere saying, we divorce you. You come here, you're gonna pay $100 in parking, your food is gonna be extra taxed. The hotels are through the roof. They just got a list of stuff that they're doing to deter people from coming. Now, do I think that's gonna stop? No.
I
I
heard
still
about the
think.
parking now that you mentioned that. I heard about that
Mhm.
parking piece.
Yep.
You think people are going to go anyway?
Oh yeah. I think this resilient Gen Z, they want the smoke. I really do. I think it
They said, bring it on, bring it
they
on.
really are that. They what they say. They are that. They are that. Because you
Okay.
know what I'm saying. You ain't that. You ain't it. That ain't it. Yeah, but they are that. I really think it's gonna be something that they wish maybe they had did more regulating instead of just saying we don't want you here. You have messed up Miami. Y'all have come down here. I really think that they're gonna show up in numbers, and I think the almighty dollar always wins. I think those stores are gonna be like, come on now. This is thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have come. You think I'm gonna turn away that dollar? They make so much money during that time of year.
Do you
So the
recall,
businesses.
do you recall when they did something similar with Daytona Beach?
Oh,
Daytona,
I remember that.
but it was white folk. They
Yeah.
used to rush Daytona Beach
Yep.
and they worked. It didn't happen in one year,
No.
but over a period of several years, that place, that
Remember,
jurisdiction.
it used to be on MTV. They used to have Daytona Beach Week where they would have
Oh,
concerts and
right.
everything. But you're right, it was more white folks than it was black folks, and they
They
gradually.
still got rid of it. Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe this is the first year for Miami. We will see. I
Yeah.
mean, it's important for people to go places and act like they have sense. We
Some
want you
sense.
there, but we don't want to get murked. We don't
No.
want to get
No.
essayed. You know
No.
what I mean? We don't want any of those things happening. And when they start happening, I think that's what killed Freaknik, isn't it?
Oh, that's 100%.
Yeah.
I didn't go that year that the regular people went, because before that, I tell everyone it was all college people. You would ask what college you go to, what college you go to, or what military base you were on. It was always someone doing something. But then the bums came, the people who never would want to go and do anything with their life. Of course, they always ruin it because they have no value system. They don't have the 5-year plan. I want a family. I want to find this woman, I fall in love with her. The men come with no agenda other than just to make everybody else miserable.
Mm.
And so once I saw that, which was my last year, I was like, oh, I will not be back next year. And none of my friends went. We did not go that last year that it was filmed that people were getting sexually assaulted on. And it's almost like the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York. All of that got shut down because of this. I mean, that was brutal when that aired on TV. Women with their husbands was just being sexually assaulted, and the men, were afraid to do anything because they were just, beating up it was just so bad. And of course it was
Well, Puerto
the
Rican people.
brown and black people.
See, I'm not a part of that. They're
Mhm,
not a part of us. Brown, I mean, well, don't let me get
mhm.
started on that. But what I will say is that brown people never seem to want to join with us until it's time for us to help them fight some issue or whatever.
No
The
question.
Christians will tell you in a minute, I'm not black.
And
The
that Afro Latino thing, psh,
If you listen to the few Latinos that are willing to tell the truth, they'll tell you we discriminate
yep,
against darker skinned people
yep.
because of the
Even their
Spanish
own.
that conquered us, right? And we
Yep.
we progressively try to lighten our skin just like
Mhm.
Brazil did,
Mhm.
but not to that extreme. But
Mhm.
I mean, so black, brown, nothing. If it's a bunch of Puerto Ricans or brown people doing something, I still don't want to see them getting essayed and all of
Mhm.
that. I'm not saying that, but I'm
Mhm.
saying I don't consider that to be us. But in
No.
New York, black I mean, they do live together, so it probably
Mhm.
did include both. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a downfall of that part of New York. But then, of course, New York has just been going downhill anyway. So pretty much everywhere we go to try to have a good time, there is just so much destruction, and I just can never figure out why can't we ever go. Not to skip the subject, but even I heard Carnival Cruises put out a list on their website. There will be no twerking.
Mhm.
You know who twerks. There will be no twerking. There will be no marijuana smoking. There is this list, and it just spells black folks. If you're gonna come on these cruises, you are not gonna bring your blackness. I mean, I just feel like I'm like, oh my god.
I'm
They
gonna
said
take a look at that, but
you have to, and it
I
said
tell you
ratchet.
what, they want our money. I
Oh
bet
yeah,
you they want our money, but I do agree that everywhere you go is not a place to be ratchet. Some
yep.
places you need to level up and have some sophistication and savviness and have a good time. You don't have to get high everywhere you go. You don't even have to
And you
drink
don't have to squat your
everywhere you
cheeks
go.
everywhere you go either.
Every restaurant, you're in a restaurant twerking for what?
I've
For
seen
what
it.
purpose? For what?
I've seen
I
it.
have seen it too.
There's
But
an
I do,
amazing new restaurant in DC, and someone just posted it. And I love the fact that some two big burly men came and grabbed, because they have nice music. You know, we love to eat with music and a nice little ambiance, dark room. Everything was beautiful, and they was playing some song, and she decides to get up and starts rapping and then twerk. And these two big burly men came and grabbed her, threw her outside, said, we don't even want you in her table. They were like, you all can go too. And I was just so
I
proud.
don't think they should have put their hands on her, and they may be facing legal
Oh,
action.
they definitely probably will, because they didn't just put their hands on it. They threw her out. Like,
Yeah.
they threw her out, and then they told her party, if you don't want to get thrown out, you need to go with her too. You're not welcome here. And then they said the next week in the comments, they said that place had a line down the street and around the corner
Because
after
a
that was
lot of
posted.
everyday people are tired of that stuff. I
Uh,
mean, I will say that when you look at the African videos and pictures, and when you visit those countries, there is a form of a movement of the rear end that is
yep,
traditional there, but
yep.
it is not the graphic twerking, drop it, bust it open, all that stuff that they're doing here. And it's also contained to certain kind of ceremonies. You're
Mm-hmm.
not walking down the street
Right. No, 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 no. Right.
they just drop it. I mean, and that's what's
And
happening.
it never came across as sexual to me when they do it. You
Uh,
know,
it wasn't probably intended to be, but they have some big rear ends, so it can be. It
I
can
mean,
be.
I think you're right. It depends on the viewer, because but I used to watch traditional African dances. It was just always amazing to me. I never looked at it like I wanted to cover my eyes in shame. But I do when I see United States females
When
doing it.
that girl Sukiyana, I think that's
Oh
her name,
my.
dropped down and started grinding on the ground on a
You
red
didn't see
carpet
Nicki
event.
Minaj just do it with the pole on stage? She just completely said,
The problem with Nikki is she doesn't really understand that can be a bigger celebrity. She doesn't really have to engage in the things that Sexy Red and other people trying to come
she
up
did it.
are engaging in. But yes, she got on Twitter and had a big beef and all. She just does things that she really could walk in a way to say, I'm royalty here. I'm
Yep.
above that. That rolls off my back. You people go ahead and engage in
Yep.
that. I'm not gonna, but she doesn't seem to
No,
realize
she got down on the
that.
stage the other night and grind the stage and put her butt towards the audience. I was so disappointed in her. I said, "Wow,
She's been
I
doing that her
understand
whole
bills got to
career.
get paid, boo, but at what point do you realize like enough is enough?"
She's been doing that her whole career, and this isn't on our list. But now that we're talking about that, have you seen the number of performers who are out of shape, who are ill, who cannot dance or whatever
Oh
anymore,
yeah,
that are still going on tour? And I'm like, look,
oh yeah.
get out of, I don't care. I don't want to see you looking broke down talking about, but 30 years ago is not now. But I tell
No,
you what, okay, I'm gonna name some people. I'm just gonna go ahead. Bobby Brown,
Bobby Brown. I was ready to say Bobby
cut it out
Brown.
looking like, one time I thought it was Cedric. And then I looked in the comments and people were like, is that Cedric the Entertainer? It was freaking Bobby Brown. Uh,
Buster Rhymes. You should have seen him fall off stage. He was so big and burly.
Oh wow, didn't he now get in shape now?
He did, but I've seen him recently. It looked like he was still, he blew
He
back
was
up. But
sliding
maybe
back.
hopefully it was all
Um, I will also say this is a sad one. I would say that I saw a video of Anita Baker. Apparently, she's had a stroke. She kept
That must have been a stroke. And Martin Lawrence. They must, both of
she
them
was
must have had
dragging
stroke.
her leg, and then her singing wasn't even really. And
Mhm.
I don't want to talk about somebody that see it's one thing if you just let yourself go, but when you have an actual illness, but I do think
But
that
it
you
seemed
have to
like something was missing up here too with Anita when I was
I
watching.
think that you have to understand or have some people around you who say touring is not for you anymore.
Yeah, the
You don't
nightclub. Maybe you need to just do little tiny
do
nightclubs
any of that.
instead.
Maybe don't do any of that
Yeah.
because people are looking for a certain quality that you used to bring to the table that you can't bring now. Another person who I know this will ruffle some feathers. Janet Jackson needs to give it up. Sitting up there doing hand movements is not what we want from you. And if you feel that you're too elderly to perform, you either need to get a new set of songs where you can sit on a stool or
Mhm.
just cut it
She
out.
has those. She has that catalog where
She does. She
that
does.
she can sit
But
on a stool and really, anytime, any
encourage,
place. Come
I'm
on,
gonna
now. You
encourage
can
her
sit
to
on a
bring
stool
that
and
out.
sing that.
I'm going to encourage her to bring that out and make it
Mhm.
known. Hey, I'm going on tour, but this time I'm mellowing out. We're
Mhm.
mature.
Jay-Z does that. He does little small jazz clubs, and it's just so intimate and so nice.
I've seen it record. I mean, I haven't seen him doing it in a long time, but I have seen a recording in the past,
Mhm.
a more
It
acoustic
is
vibe.
very nice. He always
But
puts on a great show.
you know who was killing the game? Chili from TLC. I saw her on a video
She's
honey,
our age and looking like she's 12.
dancing like she was 32, hitting
Yes.
every move. Now, if you can keep yourself up like that, by all means, I'll buy a ticket. But I'm
Yes.
not going to buy a ticket and sit in the audience and reminisce about how great you used to be while I'm
Mhm.
looking at how great you're not.
Absolutely.
But anyway, there's a little rant right there. So, in connection with that and with the spring break thing you were talking about, which I think we all see, how whenever Black people are overly celebrating, now I don't mean murdering people and essaying them, I mean just maybe a little something got burned up or a
Mhm.
lot of litter in the street, they want to
Mhm.
call it a riot and shut it
Mhm.
down.
Mhm.
But whenever white folk are celebrating after their
Basketball,
sports
footballs,
after the
wins.
sports events, turning over cards. I mean, like all kind
Mhm.
of stuff.
They
It
never
gets
ban it. They
glossed
never
right
ban it.
over. It gets glossed
Yep.
right
It
over.
gets celebrated. It's called "Look at them kids celebrating," and you're like, wait a minute now. It looks the same. It's almost like when the riots happen and they loot and steal. They're surviving, but when they see us, they're like you know
They're looting and they're
yeah.
destroying the that's just good old racist America. It's
Hmm.
they're just racist and they constantly try to cast us in a light that makes
Hmm.
us worse. But the reality is, and I know you've seen this, and I know all our viewers have heard this, the
Hmm.
most dangerous person on the face of this earth is the white male. They're the ones who have genocided people, destroyed communities, taken over resources, and all of that. But they have somehow slickly managed to convince the world that Black people are so dangerous.
Yeah.
And if we're walking down the street, you need to cross and you need to grab your purse. And I mean, we do have our problems, but collectively, historically, even today, those people are the ones who are the most dangerous.
Yeah, I had my experience with feeling like, wow, you've been taught this at such a young age that I'm dangerous. Because I remember one time, I used to love going to new homes that were just built and how, see how they were decorated. And I would always take my children there. So, they can inspire to want nicer things in life. And I just remember them being maybe like 10 and 12. And we walked into this one room, and I remember the person who was, showing us around the house, she jumped. I said, "Really? Why'd you jump?" And she's like, "Oh, I thought you locked the door." I said, "But even if I did, am I gonna hurt you with my two kids here?" I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "You know what? Thank you. We've seen enough of the house, but that was enough for me." And it just was like, wow, she was almost like the same age as me. And I just could not imagine if I saw a Caucasian woman with her 2 kids running around the house going, "Oh my God, this would be my bedroom. This would be my," and then you turn around because the door closes a little bit and you thinking, and you jump like that. Like it would have never, she seriously thought like, and she was staring at me like in fear. I'm like,
And the
I'm
problem with the
sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm
programming
like,
was it didn't just affect them, it sank into the
it's,
brains of most of us. So
yeah.
we see each other as a dangerous,
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
remember looking at teens when my son was living here and saying, that is not a dangerous young man. That is a young man like my son,
Yep.
walking down the
Isn't
street,
that
minding
scary
his
when you
business.
see
There's
a
nothing.
little corny dude like your own child and you think the world looks at him like a villain? You like, he's the corniest guy out here. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, and you
Well,
look
he
at him
might
like
be the coolest thing smoking, but what
mhm,
he isn't is a murderer, a thief, a robber,
right.
a rapist. He's none of that. He may
Mhm.
be looking fly or looking hip hop or
But he's still a little cornball inside. He's not trying to do anything.
my kids are 90 cornballs. They're the finest thing ever, according to them, but they're
Girl.
not going to do anything to you.
Right.
That
Right.
they're not going to do anything to
My
you.
kids are so harmless, and that's what makes me so worried about the world we live in. I tell them all the time, I'm like, y'all are the corniest people in the world, and I swear it makes me sick knowing that this world labels y'all as
And my
everything else.
kids are just the flyest thing ever. My daughter with her, I mean, and my son, they just are fly to me, but they're not what this country wants people to believe they are,
Mhm,
which is dangerous or
mhm,
sexually promiscuous. Or
mhm.
they're not any of that, but we are pretty much out of time. I want to say this is so on point. I want to give you a moment to talk about Nikki Haley, if you want.
Oh, she finally dropped out. I was reading today that she finally saying she's calling it quits after losing, big time in South Carolina and then losing again today. And pretty much Trump had the whole Republican states covered in red. He pretty much did. And then they're saying Joe Biden is going to lose against some dude that's just gotten the hat in the race in the Democratic Party, which I think they're just bringing this guy in like, look, Biden is not going to win. We need one other person. So I don't remember his name, but and
Oh,
I
I
wouldn't
need
even
to check that out
repeat his name at
because
this point.
I need to check that out because I was really concerned that, and I think I mentioned that to you. I
Mhm.
don't know if it was on here, but like the Democrats must just want to lose because nobody wants Joe Biden, who barely even seems to be mentally here. I mean, it's just, and who's allowed our country to be overwhelmed with
Do
immigrants.
you think we could ever get back on track with this overwhelming though? I
Well,
mean, unless they give them blanket, they gave the Indians and the syphilis they gave us. That's the only
see,
way.
that's who the white folk are. That's who the dangerous people are.
Hmm.
Who kill off your whole friggin' tribe
Hmm.
or race or whatever. Because I wasn't even thinking about that till you
Oh,
said it.
I always think about that because that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, you asking them to join the military so you can kill them off that way. Send them over the seas to fight if they'll fight somebody else because we were programmed. See, I think they forgot about how the programming started. We were programmed to be like, we're one. We fight each other, but we don't let anyone else mess with us. And it's like, nah, the other countries don't believe that.
But I think they think that for the money that they will do it because they're so impoverished. So if
But the actual act of war is what I'm saying. I don't think they are programmed to fight for us when they don't have the history that we've had in this country. We're asking them almost like what Muhammad Ali said. You're asking them to go unalive someone that did nothing to them. In our program, Black History Mind, when we fought side by side with the all the wars as far as Vietnam and all that, we were programmed to believe we need to stick together for a common good. They're like, we got our own country. We got a whole nother country.
they need
We
to go
got to
back
stick with
on to
y'all.
that country. But I think that short of being who white people historically are and killing
Mhm.
them off, what can happen is massive deportations. And I was watching
But
something.
how? How are you going to
I
gather?
was watching
It's
something
700,000.
that said that after the Cuban thing, where all
Mhm.
those there were so many deportations. So I mean, yeah, there's so many of them. You literally could just start rounding them up. You could. They're everywhere,
Mhm.
and most of them are undocumented and don't have any
But
papers.
who is the people that's going to like back then? Our army was military on foot was strong. I don't think it's that strong no more.
I think they could do it, but I think that it takes some determination, and I don't know. I don't think that the Democratic Party has any such desire. But we're out of time,
We
so
are, and we have so many more good topics.
we have a couple other things on our list too that we didn't get to.
Mhm.
So we look forward to rejoining you guys again next week. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for joining us today. Please subscribe to our channel. Please like this video, drop a comment in the comment section. And thank you. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for kicking it with Kimm and Torra.